Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Angel. Thank you for stopping, clicking and watching. So I thought today I was going to film a video, a thrifted witchy finds video part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, you're very welcome to go back and watch that. Just as a recap, I do enjoy me a good thrift shop visit, and I definitely enjoy me a thrift shop find. I enjoy having things that have been pre-owned, pre-loved, and have got some kind of story behind them. I think that adds a bit of its own magic, and I really enjoy going to the thrift shop and looking for things that possibly weren't intended for the use that I want to use them for. I hope that makes sense. So I do enjoy, which you'll see in a second when I start showing you some items that I found in the thrift shop. I enjoy using something for something other than it was intended for. That was a better explanation. Okay, enough of that chit chat. Let's dive straight in. Okay, so the first item I'm going to show you is a tarot card holder. I found 3 of these at the charity shop. Excuse me. And they had like very small canvases on them, so they were more like ornaments that would, I suppose, sit on a shelf. I felt they were perfect for tarot card holder. So when I do my daily drawers or my weekly drawers, yeah, I have 3 of these. They sit on several or 3 different altars, and they're perfect. They sit and they hold the cards. So it was a perfect find. Most impressed. Speaking of tarot card holders, this is another one that I found. Now I believe this is more like an ornament or maybe like a jewelry holder possibly, but I thought it was a perfect tarot card holder. So this one also sits on one of my altars with a card. Now I've spoken before about the fact that I'm petrified of snakes, but there was a period a wee while ago where snakes just kept turning up, and I felt they were a synchronicity or a sign that I shouldn't ignore. So I'm trying to work through my fear of snakes by having this on my altar. So yeah, so I find this works really well for a card holder. Not what it was intended for, but who minds? Who cares? Nobody. Okay, what should we move on to next? Let's have a looky here. Okay, so the next item I'm going to show you is, this is a tarot deck holder that I found at the charity shop. It doesn't look particularly very exciting, but I'm going to show you it anyway. This is also, this was originally a calendar, and it's the kind of calendar that has those like wood, or what they're called, like wood, oh, I'm so blanking on the word. What's the word? Like wood blocks, and they have like, they're painted, and they have like the days of the week on them, and they have even numbers on them, and they have like it looks a bit like a tarot card, but it's made out of like plywood, I'm assuming, a bit thicker than this, a little bit bigger, and they have the months of the year on. So it's supposed to be a calendar so that you can have on your desk, and then you change out the day, the week, and the month each day. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope so. Anyway, I bought 2 of those on different occasions, and the first one I bought sits on my self-love altar, which with a deck of cards in it, and this one sits on my ancestor altar with my ancestor deck in. So this is perfect. So it sits on my altar. I tend to have crystals on my decks, so yeah, sits perfectly, does the job, and holds my cards. And I enjoy the cards that I use very, very often, or like on a daily basis. I enjoy having out. I don't want to have to take them in and out of a box or out of a bag each time I'm going to use them. So that works perfectly for me. Now my next charity shop find was this. And what, pray be, is this, one might ask? Yes indeed, one might ask that. It's actually for a matchbox. So you put your matchbox on here and it holds it in place. Let's do this like wait a second, like so. And then once you've struck your match and used it, you can just pop the used match on here. So this sits on my witchy space, and yeah, I even have, like, I use some Palo Santo sometimes, and I even have some sage that I burn very rarely, but I have that on there as well. And it just sits on my altar, and it's a really handy tool, actually, I have to say. Really handy tool. So let's look here. What should we take next? Okay, let's look at this one next. This is, I've already shown this on my channel. I showed this on my, let's have a thinky here. I believe it was my handcrafted tools for a beginner witch. I think it was on that video I showed this. This is a box that I found at a thrift shop, which I thought was absolutely beautiful. I believe this is like mother of pearl, but don't quote me on that. So I really thought this was amazing. I think it's made of like shisham wood, and then inside I keep my doll casting divination tool, and even my doll was secondhand because, you know, why not? So I was wanting a doll, and if you've seen, as mentioned, if you've seen that video, you'll understand, and you already heard this story. But I wanted a doll to make I want to say, like, bone casting divination set. But I'm a vegetarian, so bones didn't sit right for me. So I decided to use doll parts after seeing a video from Pink put my teeth back in, Pink Tourmaline Witch on her channel. That's where I saw this, and I decided that I wanted it for my self-love practice, and so pink made sense to me, and I love me a bit of sparkle. So when I saw this doll at the second-hand shop, I was like, yes, that's the one I'm going to buy. So both the doll and the box are thrift finds at different occasions, and yeah, both really work for me in my practice. So I'm a bit of a sucker for boxes, I have to say. I do love me a good, you know, Trinket box. This was another one that I found at the charity shop, and this one I use for my pendulums. So this is like, there's a bit of, what's the word, like velvet in here. So they just sit in this box, and they're kept safe. Let's just see if I can tip that slightly. It's got some really pretty details, and I thought that, you know, this was really beautiful as well. So that's that. Let's think, and let's move on to the next one. So we're on to the same theme of boxes, actually, because, you know, everybody loves a good box. I do enjoy me some shisham wood. I'm sure it's called shisham. I apologise, and I'll put the real name on the screen if I've said the name incorrectly. This was a box I got, like, right at the beginning of my practice from a second-hand shop, and, you know, I think this intricate detail is just beautiful. This houses my Modern Witch tarot deck with some crystals in it, and this just, you know, it fits perfectly, it works perfectly, and it's the same again. Tarot decks that I use often, I want, you know, on hand, close by to me. So yeah, so perfect. Does the job spectacularly. Okay, another witchy find that I found at the thrift shop, sorry, which wasn't a really witchy find from, you know, it wasn't made for being witchy, but I use it for my witchy practice, is this. Now, this is a book stand, which I find really helpful when I'm doing, like, spell work or rituals or things like that. I tend to plan my spell work a little bit in advance, and you know, a bit like I'm going to say recipe book. I like to have my journal in front of me when I'm doing my spell work, so that I can, you know, read what I had planned, and yeah, and not have to have my book, you know, taking up extra space on my on my desk, as it were. So I like to have this stand beside me with my journal in it, or grimoire, however you want to, whatever you want to call it. And this works perfectly. Perfect stand to have beside me to hold my journal whilst doing spell work and even rituals. So it's perfect. Obviously, I'm assuming that it was like for a cookbook. It's a cookbook stand, I feel. But second chance and all that. So yeah. Okay, so talking of things being used for a different function or for a different use, well, let me start by saying this. I found that once I started on my beginner witch path, in 2020, I found it very easy to fall down rabbit holes. Oh, looky here, we've got a visitor. Hello, excuse me, what's going on? Jump down, Lovey. Jump down, Lovey. Sorry about that. Bear with me. Come on, Lovey. That's a good girl. Jump down. That's a sweet girl. Okay, sorry, where were we? Yes, speaking of, now I've gone off track. Let's think about this. Okay, so when my beginner witch path started in 2020, I've experienced that it's very easy to fall down rabbit holes of things that you want to learn and things you want to read about and things you want to know about. And one of those rabbit holes was divination with dominoes. And so, I went to the charity shop, I went to the children's section, and I found me a domino set, which was actually pretty much brand new, I would say, and so this really helps with obviously learning divination with dominoes. I haven't got particularly far yet, so I'm not going to say I'm an expert in any way, shape or form, but it was a really good way to maybe not spend so much money on something that you want to test out, and then something that could be returned to the charity shop if it's not something that works for me. So that's another option. Divination tools, things being used for another another job that they weren't possibly initially planned to be used for. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm babbling. I do feel like I'm babbling. Okay, so we're moving on to items that sit on my altar, or things that I use for offerings. This is one of the items I use for offerings, which I also found in a charity shop. This is for offerings for my ancestors. I usually make tea in this with 2 sugars, which is a bit bizarre because I don't take sugar myself in tea, but I felt that was the right thing to do. So this sits on my altar when I, give an offering of tea to my ancestors. So yeah. Okay, then we're moving on to something that isn't, I'm not going to say it's particularly a witchy item, but it works for me. This is an iPad cover, which I purchased from the charity shop. And I actually use this for when I go to work, and I tend to take books with me to read on my lunch break when I'm doing, I find it a good time to do extra research when I'm by myself and I've got, my own time. So I tend to put my books in here, and even my my notepad, just to keep them safe in my bag so that the books don't get damaged, because I like to really take care of my books, and I don't like it when edges get damaged or bent and things like that. So this works perfectly for me. Zip up, goes in my bag, and it keeps the books safe and neat and tidy. So that's another tip I have. Okay, then we have 3 final things that I'm going to show you. These are items that you've possibly seen on my channel before. I showed these on my handmade beginner witch tool video. It's not this, it's obviously the bowl that they're sitting in. And things like this are really, really great, which I've also found at the charity shop. Now this, I believe, don't quote me on this, This obviously is made of wood, but I believe, if memory serves correctly, that this is a disease that the tree gets, and this forms on the tree on the side of the Gordon Bennett. I'm blanking today. What's the name? What's the name of the trunk? Sorry. Oh my God, Gordon Bennett. These form on the trunk, and people, go and cut these off, saw these off, and then make them into these bowls. So this is quite, I'm not sure if it's popular in different countries, but in the country that I live in, this is really popular. So people do this. So these kind of bowls I tend to keep an eye out for, and I've actually got 3 in my collection. I'm going to show you one more in just a second. And these, I haven't finished this project yet, but this is going to be a divination set, like a bone casting set, but with twigs. Yeah, anywho, this is the other one that I'm going to show you. This one's filled with crystals actually, but it's the same thing. It's as mentioned, the disease that creates these, and yeah, they get cut off and they get turned into these beautiful bowls. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that. So yeah, so this one also sits on one of my altars with my crystals in it. And then last but not least, this was a real find. I found this at the charity shop, an antler which had been dropped. I don't know what it's from. I would imagine, no, actually I'm not even going to make a guess. But, some animals drop their antlers in the winter, which obviously this has happened to this one. And someone's obviously found it in the woods and then, decided they don't want it anymore and taken it off to the charity shop. So I was really lucky to get my hands on that. And it feels like it's, ethically sourced, because it's obviously the animal has dropped its antler and not been killed, and then the antler been sawn off of it. So that, really works for me. So yeah, this sits on an altar that I've created very recently. And it works really, really well. And, it just felt completely right to have this sitting on that altar. So yeah, so that was a bit of a rambly video. Again, it feels like I'm starting a bit of a theme with my rambly videos, and you got a bit of a visit from my kitty cat, which was not the meaning at all. She's a cheeky monkey. Yeah, what say you? When was the last time you were at the charity shop? And, have you found anything exciting for your own practice? Have you found something that wasn't meant to be used for that you use it for now? Let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested to know. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Take care, and I hope to see you next time. Toodaloo!